Hello once more, and welcome to part 4 of box 7 of our 45 RPM vinyl records. And this one goes out to my sister, Barry Manilow. I write the songs, because I know she likes that one. She was a Barry fan. The B-side, A Nice Boy Like Me. Oh yeah, just like me. And moving on here, we've got Three Dog Night. Again, they just keep popping up here with a one-man band. B-side of that one being It Ain't Easy Being Green. Yeah. Now we've got the Carpenters, who also just continues to pop up in every box, left and right. But that's fine, because I loved Karen Carpenter's voice. And here we've got her doing Please Mr. Postman. Look and see. Whoa, yeah, this masquerade is the B-side. So, we've got a different sleeve here at Cold Gold Noties. I don't think we've ran across this one recently. I'll give you a look at that one. And it is an Atlantic Golden Series, oldie series. So Atco and Atlantic were related. And this is one of those two different artists on the same disc. So The Lion Sleeps Tonight, Weema Wobble, Weema Wobble. I know we covered that in probably box 1, I think it was, possibly 2. Because I remember talking about the Weema Wobble subtitling there. But the B-side to this one is Ride, Captain, Ride, which is also another song that we have covered on a 45, but it was a Blues Image 45 with Blues Image on both sides. So this is another one of those, probably made for jukeboxes, oldie series. Two different artists on one disc, more bang for your buck. Now we've got Tom Jones doing What's New, Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. My wife will get a laugh out of that one. And on the B-side, Once Upon a Time. Yeah, it's one of our sayings we like to say to each other. What's up, chicken butt? What's new, pussycat? All right. Now, an Old Hit Records release. That's an interesting label that we've not seen recently. With Little Anthony and the Imperials doing Tears on My Pillow. With a B-side of Two People in the World. Okay. Now we got two in a row here that are interesting because they're ones that have the same song broken up on two sides. James Brown doing Ain't It Funky Now, part 1. And a B-side of James Brown doing Ain't It Funky Now, part 2. Looks like somebody wrote their initials all over his face. I was going to point it out on the B-side, but I guess we better flip it back over. But they actually put James Brown on the label. Now that's cool, huh? Showing some respect for the man there. Now the next one, this one might be hard to see. This is a cool, interesting sleeve too. Different RCA than what we normally see. But this is Rick James doing Super Freak. It's part 1. Maybe we can do it like the other. Oh yeah, there. Getting it right like there. You can see Super Freak. She's super freaking. And the B-side, which was Super Freak part 2. So there's interesting. Peppermint Twist was done that way. And there's a number of bands. American Pie being released in part 1 and part 2s. And I've even seen a part 2 where it was just the instrumental. So it's kind of interesting. Here we got some more spindleware here, labelware. Gary Puckett and the Union Gap doing Lady Willpower. Now I know we had a Union Gap one in an earlier episode of this box. Don't remember if it was 2 or 3, but that was a different song. But it was just as worn, so these were probably originally from the same person and quite possibly out of the same box, but somehow got mixed up. B-side of that one being Daylight Stranger, which isn't a song that I'm familiar with by the title. And here's another cool RCA label. sleeve, excuse me. And oh, what's this? We've got us a jukebox tag here. Me and Bobby McGee by Roger Miller, which isn't the 45 we've got here. 45 we have is When a Man Loves a Woman. And I definitely like Percy Sledge's version better than Michael, I won't say his last name. And the B-side being Love Me Like You Mean It. Okay, don't know that song as well, but definitely know When a Man Loves a Woman, and I liked it a lot better originally, for sure. Now, Sonny, I do believe we've seen this one before. On the A side and B side is Love is Blue, L'amour est de bleu, which would be French for love is blue, I assume, because l'amour is love and blue is blue. Alright, sorry about that. I'm in a really good mood today, so maybe I'm getting a little too silly. But Make It With You by Bread. I want to make it with you. And I've got two copies here, back to back. I wanted to just show you that the printing is different. You got different text, and the coloring's a little different. So this was the better looking copy, so that's why I chose it to put under the, even though somebody's put their name on it. But the B-side being Why Do You Keep Me Waiting, which is the exact same B-side on the second copy. But again, like I said, the font is different. It's printed a little differently. It's much bolder and on a single line here, and a much thinner font and broken up on two lines there. So same time, same period. I'm not sure, exactly how far apart those were issued, but sometimes they can be quite close together and still end up looking different. Here we have another Bread, The Guitar Man, which isn't a song of theirs that I'm as familiar with as the previous 45 we looked at. But the B-side of that one is Just Like Yesterday, which I don't recognize either. That Was Yesterday by Foreigner comes to mind when I read that title, but that's two entirely different songs. So here we've got Marcy Blaine doing Bobby's Girl on a Greatest Hits, Seville Records. And the B-side of that is another artist doing Ernie Marika. Shout, Shout, Knock Yourself Out. Now, I thought James Brown did that one. I seem to remember that title, Shout, Shout, Knock Yourself Out, but I don't associate it with this name, nor am I sure. Being that it's the greatest hits, you'd think it'd be something you'd recognize, but not so entirely sure that I do. And so here we got a couple Captain and Tennille's coming up. They had their 15 minutes of fame there in the late 70s. You Never Done It Like That. I do recognize that title. I do remember that song. Not as well as I remember the next 45, but I recognize that one. And then D Keyboard Blues, Daryl Dragon. And I remember he left us a few years back. I do believe that Tennille's still with us, but the captain is gone. And moving on to the next one, one of the really big ones is Muskrat Love. Yeah, you couldn't have lived through the late 70s and not heard Muskrat Love. And what was on the B-side of Muskrat? Honey, Come Love Me. Off of the Love Will Keep Us Together album, which is probably the most well-known. And this is another example of A&M, because Muskrat Love was off a Song of Joy. So, 2 songs, 2 albums, A&M does it again. Next up, we're getting into some disco, briefly. And it's a Casey and the Sunshine Band, which I liked. I thought their songs were pretty fun and upbeat and happy. I didn't hate all the disco. At the time, I was kind of against it because we only had 3 stations, rock, country, and gospel. And when disco, driven by the Bee Gees and Saturday Night Fever and Casey and the Sunshine Band, definitely helped with Keep It Comin' Love and some of their other songs, Boogie Shoes and That's the Way, and all those really big hits of theirs. The rock station switched over to disco, and that just didn't go down well. with me and a lot of my friends. Probably a big part of the reason why I started buying so much music, because if I wanted to hear it, I had to own it. B-side being Baby I Love You, which isn't a song that I know anywhere near as well as Keep It Coming Love, Keep It Coming Love. And then Ring My Bell by Anita Ward. You don't get much more disco than that. That's definitely disco. The B-side is If I Could Feel That Old Feeling Again, which isn't a song I'm familiar with, but it is a nice, cool label. Kind of looks like Africa, you know. That would have been a good one for Toto to have used on their Africa song. All right, here's another one. Disco all the way. Shake your groove thing, shake your groove. Peaches and Herb. Yeah, and the B-side, All Your Love, Give It Here. Okay. And here's another one that I know we have covered in a previous episode of this series of videos. And that's Lobo doing Me and You and a Dog Named Boo. Traveling and living off the land. But the B-side was different. And She Didn't Do Magic. Being that this is a flashback record, you would think that'd be a song that I'd recognize. And maybe if we threw it on and I heard a few notes, I might. But just reading the title, I do not. So we're going to wrap this episode up here with Gilbert O'Sullivan, Alone Again, Naturally. And I do have 2 copies, and this is again another one where it's a different font, even a different color, much more silvery, much more shiny. B-side was Save It. And on the other copy, it's still Save It. But like I said, this looks a little bit different. So come on back for part 5 of box 7. We'll have more fun songs to share with you.